Oh, I like it.
We back. We live. You hear my voice back. Doc is relegated back to his co-host role. Your guys are welcome for that.
It was a good run.
Yeah. But anyway, we are here live on a Tuesday night. Thanksgiving's on Thursday. People are moving the show up a little bit here. We got a great cast and crew here. Want to quickly, of course, remind you guys that we are part of Fantasy Points Media and the Fantasy Points Media Group. Now, if you use code 21 triple play 10, you will get a 10% off anything on their website, DFS tools, optimizers, anything to help you win your fantasy football leagues. You can use our code and get that stuff. And they have a 50% off rest of season going right now. So you get 60% off if my math is correct. And that is just a great deal that I cannot speak enough of. Don't pass that up. All right. I'm done selling. I'm here to
a
talk.
math teacher.
No, I'm a phys ed teacher.
I don't think your math is right.
It is right.
Sure. I'm not sure. All right, go
10%
ahead.
plus 50% is 60%.
I didn't hear I didn't hear. Yeah, 60%.
Oh
You're
my
right.
God,
you're right.
Making me feel bad about myself. All right, well, you know the normal crew: Cheesecake, Marty, and Doc here. But there's an actual better Doc that I need to talk about. If you've listened to the show long enough, you know exactly who I'm talking about. We welcome in a man that I'm honestly not sure how to intro in anymore because he's been on the show so many times. I think our audience knows his exact life. So we're going to try here. The writing of closing remarks, writer at 9 Inning Know-It-All, Fantrax, SP Streamer, and Roto Fanatic. He's the proud dad of Ellie, Jack, and Jack's farts. Give this man a cigar, a drink, and a podcast, and he's set. Ladies and gentlemen, the superior Doc and closer connoisseur, champion Little League coach, Mike Carter. What's up, man?
Oh boy. Hey guys, how are you all doing? A pleasure to be back with you guys. I think this is number 5 for me. No, maybe number 6. I'm not sure.
You're definitely set the record for all 3 shows. That's for sure.
Wait, David, I thought of something that you didn't put in his intro.
What's that?
Uh-oh.
The superior teacher over David.
Good one. That's good. I'll do that.
That's awesome. How are you guys doing tonight?
Good, man. We're good. We're pumped to have you on. How's your year? How's teaching this year been for you?
It's been a total disaster. Not gonna lie. No, it's been. I've never seen anything like it. We just had so many needs for so many kids, and so many kids struggling with being back in the classroom together with a larger group, wearing the masks. Hard to read people's facial expressions and body language, and it's been a struggle, man. I'm glad that we're on a little bit of a break here this week because I really need it. So,
yeah, speaking as a teacher, right there with you, Doc. This is a year unlike many have ever seen. At least in Baltimore, we're actually at a teacher shortage because so many have quit and just aren't trying to deal with everything that's been going on this year. It's been pretty crazy. We're up to 48 fights at my school. So
wow,
we're setting records over here, not the good kind of records.
No, that's rough, man.
Yeah, but these three are like, all right, you guys, enough of your teacher talk. Let's talk baseball.
That's what the teacher's lounge is for.
Well, I just can't believe you guys actually keep track of how many fights.
We have a board where we just draw a tally on every time.
What is considered a fight? Is there do people weigh in? Is there this might be a whole thing.
That's true. There's no weigh in. There is a lot of smack talk, and there is a lot of dirty play. Now, I can't say these fights are done cleanly, but yes, there's hair pulling, eye poking, and stuff we won't get into. But I will tell you what we're going to get into tonight. We are talking fixing the division AL Central style. So we talked about free agency position previews and dynasty outlooks later on this offseason. So we're going to go division by division, and we're going to talk about your favorite team, especially if you're listening to this episode. It's the AL Central. And we are going to talk about who are contenders, pretenders, and what teams should do with free agents or assets that they have, and we're basically going full GM mode. All right. Now, Mike Carter has the Chicago White Sox, his favorite team. Marty has the Detroit Tigers, his favorite team. I'm doing the Minnesota Twins, my favorite team. And then Doc and Cheesecake fought over the scraps, which were the Kansas City Royals and the Cleveland Guardians. So we're going to go around the horn and we're going to hit on a variety of topics, starting with our first one right here, and that's bad contracts. So, Mike Carter, are there any bad contracts on this team? And if so, are they movable?
Well, by far the worst contract on the White Sox is Dallas Keuchel, I would say, right? They signed him to a 3-year, $55 million deal in 2019, and they owe him 18.5 this year. He was worse than mediocre last year. His fastball and his changeup are exactly the same speed, which makes hitting him a dream for the rest of the American League Central. I do think that they would have the ability to move him if they were willing to eat some of that contract. There's always teams that are looking for pitching. There's going to be somebody out there who thinks that he might be able to recapture what he's done. And who knows, maybe somebody really likes a Gold Glove pitcher because he won the Gold Glove last year because 65,000 balls were hit back at his head. So he had no choice but to field it to defend himself. But I think that that's a movable contract. He's in the last year of that contract now. And I could see somebody, if the Sox were able to eat some of that, take care of that. Now they also have Craig Kimbrell with the $16 million option that they picked up, which is kind of a head scratcher. And Rick Hahn said last week at the GM meetings that they were going to look to move Kimbrell, which probably with the alleged signing of Kendall Graveman this afternoon, makes moving Kimbrell probably a priority winner. So I think those are the two worst contracts. I do not think Yasmani Grandal's contract is a bad contract, although I think other people would probably disagree with me on that.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty much a matter of now when and not if Craig Kimbrell gets moved, right? And especially like you said with the Graveman signing, he's going to go and close somewhere, so that contract will be off the books. Yeah,
I would guess that whoever loses out on the sweepstakes for Iglesias or Kenley Jansen might have some interest in Kimbrell, depending on which half they believe in. Do they believe in the first half Kimbrell or the second half Kimbrell? The truth is probably somewhere in the middle, but he has some value for somebody who loses out on the two prime free agent closers.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's very true. And there's always teams are looking for closers because right now the elite relief pitchers don't exist very much right now in these day and age. He needs to cut his hair though. That look he was sporting last year was a very weird look. I don't know if I can stay with that look or not.
Well, you like mullets, apparently we learned this week. So
that's true. I'm growing a mullet. Mm-hmm. It is coming in. You just can't fully tell yet, but it's there. But Doc, speaking of mullets and ugly things, let's talk about you and the Cleveland Guardians, which is an ugly name in itself. I'm not a fan. Do you guys like the Guardians?
No, absolutely not.
It's better than the alternative.
That's true. That's
true.
Very true.
Yeah.
Well, what about the Cleveland Spiders?
I would love that. The logo's amazing.
Yeah, spider would be a cool logo.
Can you imagine the mascot? How horrifying that would be to see an 8-foot spider just walking up and down the aisle.
That's what I'm saying.
Kids crying.
They really messed up
awesome.
in their marketing department. Doc, Cleveland is not known to be big spenders. Do they have any bad contracts?
So only one I found was Austin Hedges. He's making $3.75 million, which is like fourth on the team. And last season, 178, 10 homers, 31 RBIs, and 88 games played. So your fourth highest position is somebody that's splitting catcher duties. I mean, I don't think anybody's going to take it. I think they just eat it this year and then let him go.
Yeah, Cleveland, this is one of the places they excel. No bad contract.
They don't pay.
All right. Cheesecake, we can go now to you, and we can talk about the Kansas City Royals, who also don't usually seem to like to pay their players. Any bad contracts?
Well, I think that you can argue that there are two bad contracts. Their biggest contract is Sal Perez, but Sal Perez is the best hitting catcher in all of baseball. He averages a 20.5 average annual value through 2025. I think that's fine. They have Mike Minor and Carlos Santana. My boy Carlos, he's making $10.5 million, and Mike Minor's making $10 million, but that's only through next year. I could see Minor being dealt at the deadline if he puts in a good first half. Santana, right now, Roster Resource has Hunter Dozier even in as the starting first baseman, and they have Adalberto Mondesi as the DH. So, they don't even have Santana in the starting lineup. I have a hard time seeing that situation hold. I think Santana is going to be in the starting lineup every day once the season comes around. But he's making the second most on the team per season. And right now, we're not even sure if he's going to be an everyday player. I think it will end up he's an everyday player. But I think Minor, $10 million, I think he could be dealt. But he's probably more of a deadline deal because he did put in a subpar season.
All right. Yeah. I mean, if Mike Minor's the worst contract, that's not too bad. Again, Royals should probably, I'd say their best shot maybe this year is being third in that division. They don't look like they have all the pieces there they need to contend. I'm sure they'll sell off what they can. So I think that's the right idea there. Cheesecake. Marty, you got your Detroit Tigers.
Excited to talk about them.
Who are ready to spend a lot of money this offseason.
We're hoping. We're all hoping.
I'm
not
hoping. I'm not hoping, by the way. But
anyone who, over the last 3 years, if there's been any type of splash on the AL Central, it's been your team. So I do not want to hear it.
That's legit.
Yeah. So go ahead, Marty. Any bad contracts as of the moment with the Detroit Tigers?
There is one huge mistake contract. And I wouldn't even call it that. It's the legacy contract of Miguel Cabrera, right? The 8-year deal he signed all the way back when. 2 years left on that. So this year and then one more year, $32 million each year.
Oh man, it's that much?
It's that much, yeah. So to quickly answer your question, no, it's not movable. He only hit 15 home runs last year. He's batting .256. He played about 130 games. Nothing crazy there. So with what we lack of quantity of big contracts, because there's only 2 players on the Tigers, hitters anyway, that have more than a 1 year left, and we just re-signed Jonathan Scope, and that was $7 million a year for 2 years. It's fine. Matthew Boyd, you could look to as potentially a bad contract, $7.5 million. This is his last year, so I think he is movable. But the question is, will anybody want him? He had a 3.89 ERA last year, but his xFIP was 4.79. His whip and K percentages were down. The only thing that he's good at right now is limiting hard contact, which isn't, not nothing, but maybe a playoff team might want him, but that's about it for the Tigers.
Not too bad with all the money that they're going to spend. So that they're in a good spot as well. The Twins fit the vibe of a lot of the teams in this division. Right now, they have 2 players that combine to make 44% of their salary. Josh Donaldson has 2 years and $42 million left on his deal and a club option of $10 million in 2024. I'm sorry, $16 million club option in 2024. So I would expect that they're going to decline the club option in 2024, and they're going to have to ride out the next 2 years of 21 mil. And let's not mistaken, Josh Donaldson's a good player when he's on the field. The problem is he's just not on the field enough, and he's going to be blocking younger players. Now the Twins, which we'll get to in a second, if they trade assets, I won't spoil everything. They have a lot of good young players in the minor leagues right now. And Josh Donaldson being hurt and taking up that much money and basically just settling at third base. And I don't think that's a great contract there. And Miguel Sano is the other one who actually right now, next year is his last guaranteed year, $9.2 million. But they have a club option of $14 million in 2023. Now, as it stands right now, I can't see them exercising that club option of $14 million for a guy that's going to hit you 35 to 40 home runs, but that's about it. And he's not healthy either. He misses a lot of time, and you can get power elsewhere, especially with the strikeout rates that he has. So I would say, again, not horrible contracts, but at this point right now, those are definitely 2 contracts that they're going to want to move. Miguel Sano obviously is going to be a little bit harder because he's only in his last year of his deal, so it'd be more of a rental most likely. And Josh Donaldson, 2 years of $21 million each. I doubt that gets moved. So I think
you trade Miguel Sano after he has a 4 home run week, because then he's going to strike out 75% of his at bats the following week.
Yeah, there you go. Do it. It's like when you're playing poker or you're playing roulette or something, and you win a big hand or you win a lot of money. Instead of like, can I win more? You're like, no, I know I'm going to start losing now. So I have to make sure I get up while I'm still ahead. That's what Miguel to know. All right. Biggest assets. So back to you, Mike. Who are your team's biggest assets? And do you expect them to keep them or move them for potentially future parts? So basically, this is kind of like if your team buying right now and looking to bring more guys in, or are they looking to sell off some parts?
Well, I think the White Sox are definitely in win now mode, and I think anybody on this panel would agree with that. I mean, I think that they've got a young core. Here's an interesting thing that I calculated today, and I know that we're not math magicians here, but today, Wander Franco allegedly signed a $182 million contract extension. The White Sox have the following players signed for the next 5 to 6 years. Tim Anderson, 6 years at $25 million total. Signed in 2017. They owe him $9.5 million in 2022. Eloy Jimenez has a 6-year, $43 million contract that he signed in 2019, due to make $6.5 million this year. Luis Robert, I should say, 6 years, $50 million in 2020. So they're paying him $6 million this year. And Yohan Moncada, the old man of the group, 5 years, $70 million, $13 million in 2022. Add those contracts all together, it's $188 million that they owe those guys for, if my math is right, 23 years of control. So
Doc, you need to tweet that out because that's insane.
Yeah, isn't that crazy? So I thinking about Wander today made me think, I'm like, I wonder how much money the White Sox have tied up, because I know what Rick Hahn has done masterfully is buy out free agency on these guys and get those years at a deal when those guys all signed those deals before they were major league stars, right? So he was projecting that out, and now they've got this money, and they have $156 million payroll so far for next year, with Abreu and Grandal being the highest paid guys on that team and whatever. So I think they're definitely in buy mode. They spent $24 million today, allegedly, on Kendall Graveman. I think that they're going to spend, and I think that they're going to spend judiciously. It would not surprise me at all to see them add and not subtract from that. I could see them moving somebody, say an Andrew Vaughn or a Gavin, had good contributions this year and are young, that might be able to bring something back in trade. But I don't really think that they're looking to subtract. I think that they're looking to add at this point, as well they should be. The division is very winnable, and I think that they got their ass kicked against Houston. I was at both home games that they won the first one and they lost the second one. I think that they're licking their chops a little bit and hoping for another chance to get back in there next year, which they should have. And I think that means that they're going to be adding and not subtracting any of those assets. Although sometimes around here, you do hear rumors going around that they're not super thrilled with Eloy and his work ethic, and that he might be somebody that they would move. I don't see that. I think that's just meatball talk on sports radio.
Meatball.
Yeah, when you have fans around, we got a lot of meatballs in Chicago, right? Hey, we'll trade you our third string left tackle for Tom Brady. Like these idiots that call up on the radio and make these suggestions.
A fair offer.
Yeah, right. I mean, there are Bears fans who think that would be okay, right? So, I think that they're going to definitely add.
So wait, Doc, who do you dislike more, Matt Nagy or Tony La Russa?
Boy, that's a really good question.
That's a really good question.
I would say Matt Nagy, because he's a fraud. And I think I had somebody tell me the other day that they feel like he woke up, he hit a triple and woke up and thought that he got there on his own by coaching with Andy Reid. And he really has not brought in a system. They've not been able to develop anybody. He doesn't seem to have the ability to figure out that he's got this guy that's in front of him who's a stud and can't figure out how to use him. And we did the same thing with Trubisky. Not that Trubisky was a stud like Fields is, but he can't develop a quarterback. So, no, I hate him more, even though I hate Tony La Russa's bullpen management more than ever.
You're trashing the 2018 NFL Coach of the Year, just letting you know.
Yeah, right, because the gimmick plays worked in 2018, Eric. Now they don't work anymore. The tight end flip at the goal line doesn't work anymore because everybody's seen it. They don't adjust. I wouldn't mind at all if he got fired on Thursday. That's what the rumor going around Chicago is that he's been told that Thursday is his last game and that they're out. Now the Bears have never fired a coach midseason in 101 years, so I don't know if that'll actually happen or not, but we'll see.
Yeah, I think you're right, Doc. The White Sox are as much a win now. Like, we're not selling assets, we're bringing guys in as any team out there right now. I fully agree with you on that. Now, Doc, Cleveland seems like they're a little more in that purgatory where we don't know what they're going to do. You got Jose Ramirez there. What do you think they're doing with him as he's obviously, it seems like pretty much the only hitting asset. They have a lot of pitchers there. What do you think they're doing?
So I think they have 4 assets. They have 2 stars, and then they have 2 lower tier ones. Jose Ramirez is in the last year of his deal. He's making $12 million. I think that's probably the most obvious trade candidate. When they didn't re-sign Lindor, it was showing that they're kind of going through a rebuild. Shane Bieber's making $4.5 million this year. He has 2 years left of arbitration, or 2 potential arbitration years, and he's an unrestricted free agent in 2025. I don't think they keep him either. They've gotten rid of all pitching in the past. Clevenger, Bauer, even going back to CC Sabathia. Then we go to the lower tier. And I have Franmil Reyes, who's making $3.5 million this year, 2 arbitration years, and then a UFA. I think they keep him and kind of make him the star of the team. And then they have Cal Quantrill, who I think is now an asset at this point. And I think that they'll probably flip him for the best offer that they can get for him because he's under control for 3 years. So I think anyone that they're going to get for value, they're going to flip, and just gut feeling they keep Franmil.
Yeah, I could see that. Do you think that how do you feel about Zach Plesac, Doc?
I don't think his trade value is really up there that much. Like, I think kind of what we've seen with the inconsistencies, but I feel like the reputation around him is that he's kind of like a knucklehead. Like, the whole thing with COVID, then, punching a wall and breaking his hand. Like, I feel like then the character issues start going in there. So I can't see teams wanting to give up for him and knowing that, he's not going to be the best locker room presence.
Fair enough. Cheesecake, the Royals, Whit Merrifield, Mr. Whit himself.
Multi-hit Whit.
I like that. He's a nice asset there. What do we think with the Royals? Any assets? They going to bring people in? What are these Royals doing?
Well, they do have some nice assets. They got a guy who's going to be their opening day third baseman, and that's Bobby Witt Jr.
Oh yeah,
he's a heck of an asset. A lot of hopes for him coming up in 2021 after his great spring training, but we didn't really see him this year. Asa Lacy, the first round pick in 2020. What a great pitching prospects they have there. They have some nice prospects going. I want to talk about 3 of their starting pitchers, 25 years, all going to be around 25 years old when the season starts. That's Brady Singer, Chris Bubick, and Carlos Hernandez. They all look like they could be rotation mainstays. I'm not going to predict high ceilings for any of them, but I do think that they are valuable rotation pieces for Kansas City and young. Nicky Lopez finally showed that he can play a little. He had 300 last year. No pop, 2 home runs, but 22 steals, 300 batting average, good defense at shortstop. So obviously they have some pieces there. I don't suspect they will be adding much. Right now their projected salary is higher than it was in 2021 by about $16 million. So I think that what you're going to see from them possibly is some relief pitcher signings with the hope of flipping them for more prospects, like a lot of teams do, and perhaps someone, a starting pitcher to perhaps round out the rotation to help them, and that pitcher could also be dealt at the trade deadline. I think they're a team that's collecting assets at this point.
Yeah, I agree with you. I don't think the Royals are going to obviously be contending anytime soon. And you said you think Witt could be dealt by the deadline?
No, I don't. Well, Witt's still is in his last year of arbitration. So, and that's actually surprising because I think he's 33 this year. So he really is a late bloomer. Being in his last year of arbitration and therefore being a free agent, that could make him dealt. But Kansas City as a franchise likes to hold on to their quote unquote icons, and I think Witt has sort of graduated to that status in Kansas City.
All right, fair enough. Marty, let's talk about your Tigers assets. There are a lot of pitchers on that staff that were considered untouchable, and now I don't know what to think of a lot of them. And the young hitters coming up, looking pretty nice. What are we thinking with these Tigers?
And that's exactly where I'm going to start. So let me just preface this. So looking at their entire roster, like I said, there's only Cabrera and Jonathan Scope. They're going to be on there for longer than just this year. And they're not part of the long-term future either, right? Mm-hmm. So this whole team is about 2-3 years away from being like a serious contender, okay? And that's with or without Correa. So we're going to start with number one, the fourth overall prospect, Spencer Torkelson. So Torkelson, first baseman. He's not going to be a third baseman. I know he was drafted as a third baseman. That's nonsense. He's going to be a first baseman. He is the key to the Tigers' future. Okay. He needs to be a perennial all-star at first for their outlook to be, really good. He's, like I said, he's the fourth overall prospect according to MLB Pipeline. In his first year in the minors, and that was a combo of high A, double A, and triple A. He moved right up. He hit 30 home runs. He knocked in 91 RBIs, and he slashed 267, 353, 552. So number one, Torkelson. Number two is going to be the Riley Green, another prospect, outfielder. So he's the seventh overall prospect according to MLB Pipeline. In Double A and Triple A, he combined to hit 301 with 24 home runs and 16 steals. So from a fantasy perspective, you got to love it. Pop and steals coming up. Looking at just overall, I was kind of just taking a look at their ADP and current draft champions. And Torkelson is being drafted around 251. And just for some context, that's around Enrique Hernandez and Charlie Blackmon. So people are already expecting him to come up this year. I don't see it personally happening for him. Same thing with Riley Green. People are taking him. His current ADP is 288. So around Max Kepler, is around him, and he's 50 spots ahead of Andrew McCutchen. So there's a big buy-in so far. And then you touched on it, the young arms, Mize, Skubal, and Manning. So Mize 3.71 ERA with 12 quality starts last year. He finally showed some promise. We're still waiting on Skubal. I mean, if you take a look at his StatCast data, it's, as you would say, Mr. Freeze is in the house, man. It's pretty brutal looking at it. And then lastly, he's going to be Eduardo Rodriguez. So we just inked him for 5 years. So he's not going anywhere. None of the big arms are going anywhere. Riley Green's not going anywhere. No one's going anywhere.
Yeah. Like you said, the Tigers they're like we kind of talked about, they're the White Sox from a couple of years ago. They just see them building a bunch of assets. These young guys are coming up, and before you know it, you're bursting on the scene, being one of the favorites in the American League. So I get a sense just with the way the Twins and the Royals and the Guardians are at right now, this is going to be a two-team division for what seems like in the next 2 to 3 years. This could be for like the next half a decade between you two, assuming the young talent continues to play out as it should.
Well, at the end.
Good.
Sorry, David. I was going to say, to Marty's point, I think that I read last weekend, I think that the Tigers since the end of May were 68 and 61. So they got off to a real rough start, but they really competed in the middle of the season. And we got to see those young arms quite a few times here in Chicago. And I was really impressed with Mize in the limited time that I think he only pitched 3 or 4 innings the time that I saw him. But Manning's going to be really good too. And Skubal, if he figures it out, it's going to be game over for a lot of people. He's really disgusting.
Yeah, Tigers got a lot of great pieces. Speaking of great pieces, the Twins have a lot of assets, and they are right now. They came into last year with expectations to be a playoff team, and they were far from it. Now this year, to be completely honest with you, they look to me like a team that could hover around 500. I don't expect them to be a playoff team. And if they're at the certain point where they're not going to make the playoffs, I wonder if they sell. You already have Jose Barrios. He's gone. But right now you have guys like Jorge Polanco, Byron Buxton, Max Kepler, Tyler Duffy, Trevor Rogers. All these guys are sought after pieces that would be great for contending teams. So if the Twins are out of contention, I really do think that they'll deal a lot of these guys. You have the Alex Kirilloffs, you have the Nick Gordons, you have the Royce Lewises. There's a lot of pieces that are ready to start coming up and taking these spots. So if they feel like they can get good young assets like you saw with the Barrios trade, where it seems like they got a pretty good deal with the Blue Jays. I think it was one of the better deals at the trade deadline, considering what was going down. If something like that reveals itself to them, I could see them being okay to part with these guys. I mean, if you look, Max Kepler, 5-year, $35 million contract, $7 million a year. Pretty good deal. Jorge Polanco, 5-year, $25.7 million contract, about $5 million a year. Kenta Maeda was a good contract until obviously the injury. He's an 8-year, $25 million deal, $3 million a year. Besides that, Randy Dobnak is signed for a 5-year, $9.2 million deal. Jake Cave is signed for a 1-year, $800,000 deal, and that's pretty much all committed right now. Like, it's a lot of these guys I expect to be dealt if the Twins are out of contention and they go a full rebuild like the Tigers, like the White Sox have done. So
yeah, it'll be interesting to see what they do, because I think that last year I thought the same thing. I thought, oh, they're going to trade off a bunch of these guys. They're going to trade off Rogers. They're going to trade off. They didn't really do much at the deadline last year. It makes me wonder if they think that they're going to bounce back pretty quickly this year. I don't know.
I think they'll definitely. I think their thinking was it was an off year. They unloaded Nelson Cruz and got, a good asset back. So I think that they were like, okay, we'll do that. But I think this is it. If they're not contending this next year, there's no reason that the guys like Jorge Polanco or like the Tyler Duffys or Taylor Rogers, like there's no reason these guys will still need to stick around. I would be shocked if the Twins aren't selling at least 2 or 3 of their guys by the trade deadline this year. All right, let's talk about possible offseason targets you think your team might try to obtain in a trade. So let's go reverse order. I'll just quickly go from the Twins here. And some guys on this list already were taken on my original list I have, but they need a experienced starter because they have a lot of young guys coming in that rotation. I would love a Marcus Stroman. I would love a 1-year prove-it deal from Carlos Rodon. Steven Matz is garbage, and that's exactly who I think the Twins will sign. I really do think when it's all said and done, Steven Matz is going to be the pitcher they bring in, and I'm going to sit here and just shake my head so much.
There's a lot of people who think he's going to sign in the next couple of days right before Thanksgiving.
I love it.
If he goes to the Twins, you guys are going to hear me cry because this is exactly who the Twins bring in, and it's ridiculous. I think they'll also bring in a reliever, something like either a Corey Knebel or Ryan Tepera, something like that. I think those will be their 2 pitching moves. I'm just used to it at this point. Marty, the Tigers obviously have a lot of free agents they want to bring in, notably Carlos Correa. Besides him, are there any others you've been hearing of potentially who they're looking at to bring in?
Well, we'll start with number 1, Eduardo Rodriguez, right? We already signed him. Mm-hmm. So a lot of money is already tied up there. Number 2, we already traded for Tucker Barnhart, which is actually like a low-key, really good signing. I mean, he has 2
really good.
Yep. He's going to be able to work with that young pitching staff, and really help develop them. We only had to give up Nick Quintana, so a very low-end prospect, I think he's maybe second baseman if he's lucky. And the Tigers already aren't ruling out a possible contract extension for Barnhart. So, thumbs up there. I really like the beginning to the offseason. You already touched on Correa. I mean, he's going out to lunch with AJ Hinch. We're seeing all of this. I would love for them to sign him. The money would obviously be a lot, but more importantly, it would represent that Detroit baseball, the Tigers baseball, is back. A big name free agent signing with his old coach. That's going to really start building things, and when these young guys come up, they're going to have pros to actually look at, and actually be able to, get even better. So if we get Carlos Correa, that's a good start. Now, John Heyman of MLB Network, he may know a little bit more than me. I don't know. He's a little bit closer to the. He's got his
connections.
He's close to the pulse, So what he said was everything adds up with Correa, except that the Tigers aren't planning on putting all their free agent dollars in a single basket, making Javi Baez or Marcus Semien more likely targets for Detroit.
Part of the problem is that they only have plastic garbage cans in Detroit. So
that's a good one. That's good.
Sorry.
No, hey, you know what? It's one of those things that like Tigers are very quiet about the whole Astros thing. You guys have Verlander. We have their coach. It's like we kind of like low key root for him. But anyway, yeah. So I would be okay with. Actually, you know what? To be honest with you, I don't want Baez. I don't want Semien. I don't want either person. I don't think it'll be worth it. I would take Correa though. But yeah, that's what. And then there's any. I think that's all they'll do. I don't think we might see one more veteran pitcher added. Hopefully not Matz. I'll let you take him. But that's about it, what we expect from the Tigers.
All right. Cheesecake, anything from the Royals? You expect them to bring in anybody?
I mean, I have a few names. I think if relief pitchers, they're gonna add a few relief pitchers. I don't have any names there. I think if we're looking in the starters market, which I do expect them possibly to sign a starter, I think you're looking at John Gray, Hwang Hung Kim, maybe Zach Davies, guys who are around 30 years old, possibly could have some value after a good first half. That's about it right now. They're really in like an acquisition mode. So any sort of long-term deal is off the table. I don't see them signing any hitters actually either.
Yeah, I think that's about accurate. Doc, similar with the Guardians.
Yeah, I mean, you had mentioned earlier that their pitching is pretty stacked. That it's usually their strength. I think they just go after a hitter, kind of like a secondary one. I was looking at like a Jock Peterson or Eduardo Escobar, maybe Kyle Schwarber if he doesn't get a big contract. I think a lot of these teams that are, quote unquote, smaller markets are going to wait till the big stars sign. And then, they'll sign 2 or 3 players for a couple million each year to say, this is our attempt at, trying to have a formidable team. But I don't think they're going to do much.
Yeah, let's get some exciting in here. Let's get some excitement. Let's talk about the White Sox and who they're bringing in. Let's bring some energy from these boring teams over here on my right side.
Let's see. Here's the thing. So there's always a lot of rumor and conjecture around the White Sox, and the last couple of years, especially with adding pieces. And so there's been a lot of names, the usual suspects, I would say. And I think one of the big decisions they have to make is it does not look like they really want to bring Carlos Rodon back. They need somebody that's going to have a few more innings in him than the 135 that he threw last year. And to be real honest with you, they've been burned by his injuries so much in the past that I don't think that they think that he can keep it up for a full season. And I think that they knew that in the playoffs. And it's too bad. I mean, the guy busts his ass and tries super hard, right? But I think that they're going to be looking for a pitching upgrade there for sure. And there had been some link, again, people talk and they said, they're looking at big name pitchers. Somebody threw out Scherzer. I don't see that being a fit. I don't see them spending the money on a 37-year-old guy, even though if you were going to bring in a 37-year-old guy, he'd be the one to bring in, right? So they definitely need another pitcher. They've got a big 2 with Giolito and Lynn that they believe in. They're moving Michael Kopech to the rotation this year, which leaves a hole in their bullpen. I cannot stand. The days that he pitches, I have to walk away. I lose my mind because, in my opinion, he's got some of the best stuff in the game, and he just has no idea what the fuck he's doing half the time when he throws it. So it pisses me off because I see him and I think, God, if somebody could get into his brain, this would be a top 10 starter. And he still gets great strikeout numbers, and on the periphery, everything looks great. But then you watch him pitch, and it's like, I just hate watching him not believe in himself. But I'm not going to talk about it anymore. I'm going to move on. I really think that a guy that has been proven, that has been a winner, that is somebody that has playoff experience would fit really well there. And I think a guy like Clayton Kershaw would be a great fit for the White Sox if he's healthy. Don't know that. I feel like the Dodgers know something we don't by letting him walk. It scares me a little bit. They also are going to be looking at an outfield upgrade. I firmly believe that they're not going to go into another season not knowing who's playing right field. We're not going to live with Lurie Garcia out there. We're not going to do some weird-ass platoon that doesn't work with him and Adam Engel. There's a lot. Conforto makes a lot of sense for them on a 1-year contract or 2-year contract. I think he's a good bounce back candidate. The guy can hit and he's lefty. They really lack lefty pop in that lineup. They love Castellanos. Rick Hahn is known for years that he loves him. I don't think they can afford him. I'm not sure what they're going to do with their money. They also love Jock Peterson, who Eric just mentioned as well, is somebody that he could bring his pearls up to Chicago. As long as he's not walking around with those pearls after the game on the south side, he'll be okay. But I mean, I really think that there's a number of different directions they could go. A lot of people are calling for them to bring back Marcus Semien, but Marcus Semien wants $200 million supposedly, and I don't see that being a fit at second base. I could see them making a move and making a trade to get a second baseman that's maybe a little under the radar, a Colton Wong type, not saying that Colton Wong is available, but a guy like that, and then spend some money in right field and then stockpile with pitching. I really think that they're in the mood to add. And with those contracts, like we talked about before, they could make a splash. I mean, they're millions of dollars under the so-called soft cap, right? So they could really do some things if they want to do it. Jerry Reinsdorf's 85, similar to Illich was in Detroit, and wants to win. He wants to win another one. So if he wants to win, he's going to have to pay up.
All right.
Do you think? I'm sorry. When you mentioned Conforto, I think that's a great fit, but they would have to give up a first-round pick. Is that something that the Sox have been hesitant to do in the past?
They really have been. You're right, Art. And I think part of the thing with that is that the minor league, I don't see them making a lot of trades because the minor league is gone. The cupboard is pretty bare. I mean, the best prospects are the guys that they've taken the last couple of years, Jared Kelly and Montgomery, the shortstop they took last year. But they don't have a lot of things to move there, a lot of assets to move. So I really do think that their mark will come in free agency, and depending on what they do with Kimbrel and what they might get for Keuchel, if anything, I don't know. But I think it's going to have to come from free agency for the White Sox if they're going to do something.
Well, let's kind of wrap up this discussion and let's talk about the team's realistic goals for 2022. So give us a record, and then if they're a playoff team, you think they're a World Series contender. The terms I use are playoffs, purgatory, or pushover. I like the alliteration. So if you say playoffs, give us how far in the playoffs you think they go. Let's go around the horn. Mike, record and prediction.
I think anything less than a deep playoff run for the White Sox would be extremely disappointing. I think that they learned some things this year against Houston. Houston's a real squad. They were not. They got shown up for what they really were. I think playoffs is a very real possibility. 90-plus wins, I think, is a strong possibility. And I think that they are a World Series contender with the right moves this winter. I see Houston taking a step back. I see Oakland taking a step back. I think that it could be wide open in the American League. And whoever spends most fortuitously this winter will probably end up being the team that makes it to the big dance there at the end.
All right. White Sox starting it off hot. Doc.
So the Guardians were 80 and 82 last year. Keep in mind, Shane Bieber missed a lot of the season. I don't think that they're going to be in that same realm, especially if they trade Jose Ramirez. So I picked a number that I thought was very close to where they'd actually be, and I just want to say this on air. They're going to go 69, and 93, and miss the playoffs.
69 and 93. All right, Cheesecake. Wow. Are the Royals doing any better than that?
Yes, I think they will. I think you'll see further development from the Singer, Bubic, and Hernandez. They're young triumvirate of starting pitchers. And I think their 74 and 88 record from last year will be up to about 77, between 77 and 78 wins. I think that they're not in purgatory because they have a future to look forward to. But so I'm going to call them a pushover because they're not in purgatory.
I think you're right. That's actually a really good way to classify them because you're right. They have a lot of young pieces that they're building. They're not like stuck in the middle and have nothing to look forward to or anything on the horizon. So I think that's a good call. Marty, Tigers 77 and 85 last year, expected to make probably one of the biggest jumps in baseball next year. What's the expectations for this team? And what's the record?
Yeah, and I'm piggybacking off what Art said. They're in a similar predicament. So with the Tigers, I'm going to say purgatory, 75 and 87.
So you think they're going to lose 2 more games than they did last year?
Yep. I think they overperformed last year. They were 22nd in OPS as a team. All they've added is Tucker, Barnhart. We have to. The team still just isn't any good. Now, will Carlos Correa help? Yes, of course. Will Javi Baez help? Who knows? But as of right now, I'm going to be realistic with this team, where they are at, where the young arms are at, where Matt Manning's currently at, Skubal's currently at, and yeah, that's where they're going to end. Out of the playoffs, push over, I guess, but technically in the purgatory stage.
Okay.
You could totally see them losing more games, but having a more productive season than they did last year, right? I mean, you can totally see that happening.
That's what I'm envisioning for the team. Yep.
Yeah, and then 2023.
Time to go.
Yeah. The Twins 73 and 89 last year. When I was writing up my answers, 74 and 88 just hit me like I was like, okay, I won't deny it. 74 and 88 is the number that popped in my head. 1 game better than last year. Twins started out really, really, really bad last year. I don't have the numbers in front of me, but they were god awful the first beginning part of the year. I want to say it was like the first like 10 to 15 games. So I think that it'll all balance out throughout the year. There'll be one game better. Twins are not going to be good in the next few years. I don't expect them to, barring them outperforming every type of peripherals that they have, pitchers making steps forward that I don't anticipate them making. They still don't have an ace. They still have just a bunch of guys. Even some of these young pitchers, they have some potential, but nobody's like, this guy's going to be a stud. We don't have, there's none of these, Shane McClanahan's or Shane Baz or Alec Manoah's. There's nobody like that on the Twins right now. The last guy that was Jose Barrios, and he's gone.
But now you're going to get Steven Matz, so it's going to be okay.
Oh my God. If that happens, I'm shutting down Twitter for the rest of the night that day, because I cannot just see that on my timeline. Steven freaking Matz. All right. Well, we've got our predictions in. They're locked in. We talked about all of these squads. So let's get a little fun here. Let's go and move on to our question of the week. It's nerd alert. I want to find the right button. Let's do it. Here we go. Can't touch this. All right. So we don't get copyright. I'll cut it there. Our question of the week is sponsored by Monkey Knife Fight. Triple Play Fantasy's an official affiliate to Monkey Knife Fight, the fastest growing sports betting site in the United States. New depositors receive a 100% instant deposit match up to $100 using promo code Triple Play. So make sure you do that. All right. Question this week. And I will say that I'm going to say I cheated a little bit because I have a dream one day of launching my own protein bars, Triple Play Fantasy style. So I came up with a name for each basketball bar, a baseball bar, and a football bar. And I spent an embarrassing amount of time doing this that day. So
was the nerd alert sound for you?
Yeah, it should fly to me. So I think I have the best name, but we have to also talk about what's in it. So Doc, you're the guest, Mike Carter. So I'll let you give us the name of your protein bar, your baseball team, and then what's in it.
So I gave this a lot of thought. And it's probably pretty terrible because I'm way past the point of being tired. You guys kept me up an hour past my bedtime, essentially. Mine's called the Dusty Baker.
Okay.
The slogan is going to be long-lasting energy without the winning aftertaste. And it's going to be made up of chocolate, toothpick shards, and rubber gloves. It's so stupid, right? It's so stupid. But that's the thing, right? You want long-lasting energy from your protein bar, right? So Dusty's in his 70s. He's still managing, chewing the toothpicks, wearing the rubber gloves, screaming and yelling all the time. But we can't win the big one.
I haven't seen Elsie laugh that hard in a while, and his kids are sleeping too. That's a great one. Wow, everything about that is fantastic. Doc, do you have one to compete with Mike Carter?
No, you can go next. Come back to me. Come back to me.
All right. Well, mine is called Frosted Rakes, and it's got a Frosted Flakes cereal crunched up into the protein bar, and it's kind of like a cereal bar base of like the cinnamon kind of like vanilla caramel kind of base with the Frosted Flakes on top of it crunched in there. And it's like if you want to hit a home run for taste, Frosted Rakes. The slogan was not good, but I like the name and I like the preface of it.
And how much time did you said you spent on that?
I said embarrassing amount of time. I didn't, not the slogan, but the Frosted Rakes took me
David's prep hour today was spent doing this at school.
I'll tell you guys all the three that I came up with. Well, Eric does his. Oh, wait, hold on. Frosted Rakes, Cinecrunch crossover, and chocolate cover corner crispy.
Don't quit your day job, David.
all cereal-based protein bars, it seems like.
I like the cereal-based idea to it. Go ahead, Doc.
All right, so mine is going to be called Home Run Crunch, and the slogan is going to be out of the park. I know, real original. And it's going to be a chocolate protein bar. You know the Little Debbie brownies, the ones that have the 4 sprinkles on top. It's going to have that, and then kind of like the Star Crunch crispy rice inside of it. And it's going to be super high in protein. So it's going to be one of those that you eat after a workout, but it's going to have a lot of saturated and total fat as well, which is a no-no for David. But it's going to give you that protein you want. At least 25 grams in that bar.
It definitely is the worst one so far.
I just thought of it right now.
Well, we could tell. Marty, what about yours?
Yes. So, okay. Mine is going to be called the Stantonian Protein Bar. And it's going to be filled with chocolate, peanut butter, and peanuts. And it's going to be based off the huge and beautiful Giancarlo Stanton. Okay. Now, here's the hook. Because, there's so many different brands doing this things. Like, what separates our protein bar, the Stantonian Protein Bar? And what it is that proceeds from you buying, a protein bar, some of the money will go to the All-Star Smiles Foundation, which is the foundation that Giancarlo Stanton started after he shattered his face in 2014. So he's helping kids get smiles back that are underprivileged. So there you go.
I like that.
That kind of sounds like a spin-off of Zoolander. Instead of helping people with like the night blindness or the kids that can't read, we're helping kids smile again with this Stantonian Protein Bar.
Well, it's strictly kids who get hit in the face with baseballs.
Gotcha.
I'm kidding.
It's a very niche category.
Yeah, there's only 2 people maybe a year.
It's the black lung, Pop. It's the black lung.
We're down there for 3 hours.
I could see a commercial being like, they throw a ball and hits them in the face, like, oh my God, my face. And then they throw another one and they have like the protein bar mouth and it like clanks off. It's like, yeah, it's not a problem with the Stantonian Protein Bar. That protects you from getting hit in the face.
And it would have 49 grams of protein in it.
Whoa,
you know what?
It's a big boy.
You know what? To make it really, really bad, it has to be like the most overpriced protein bar.
That's actually really good, Doc.
I was gonna say it comes with a pulled calf.
Oh, this is worth thinking. I like this. All right, Elsie, what's your pick?
My protein bar is called Bat and Balls, and it's in the shape of a bat, and it helps your balls because it is full of testosterone. Right? Not only that, but we also have the Viagra version, where you can eat your protein bar and go have a good night with your wife afterwards. So, Bat and Balls,
wow,
shaped like a bat, good for your balls.
This was some of the best answers I think I've ever heard on a question. That was fantastic.
Wow, we need to be a marketing team right here.
See, the thing is, I just want to be left alone. Like, I don't want to do anything. I just want to be left alone. So if I can go sleep on the couch and sleep for like 6-7 hours, I'm good. Have a couple of good beers. I don't need any testosterone from Art.
You know what? You're gonna be, Mike. You're gonna be the taste. You're gonna be the taste tester.
I'll be right back, guys.
That's awesome.
That means the kids are up.
I woke the boys up with the screams earlier. Sorry.
The laughing got them. Be able to see it.
Yeah, but protein bars are an awesome idea. I think we might have to start our own line. We'll do like a triple play line of all these protein bars, and we'll do like the proceeds go to
David's actually serious. He called me one day at the gym. Eric, I got this crazy
I was
idea.
at the dog park.
Okay, I know you're gonna say no to it, and I said, David, like at 10 seconds in, David, no.
Yes.
I know, but it's cool.
Protein
creative.
Bar.
It's creative. Yeah.
What other of these companies, these fantasy companies, do protein bars?
None, because they're different industries.
No, I'm gonna make a triple play protein line, triple play protein bars one of these days, and then I'm gonna sell them, and I'm gonna have a charity with it, and it's gonna be good.
You don't have enough time in your day now. If you can make protein bars.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's get to the last segment of the night, and if Cheesecake can just be the audience for this one. So this is a game. Well, let me get my little sound here too. All right. Our game of the week, I'm hosting this week, and it is called Pass the Player. So what you guys are going to do as I remove my soundboard from the screen, and instead I'm going to add a timer. You guys have 10 seconds every single time, and you will see the clock counting down. I'm not going to make sure the sound's with it, so that way it doesn't buzz in your ear. So you guys have 10 seconds, and what we're going to do is we're going to go down the list, and you have to tell me a player with the last name of that letter. So Marty would be first, and then Eric, and then Doc. And how it's going to be is Marty has to think of a player with the last name A. 10 seconds to do so. Doc, you have the last name B. And then Mike, you have the last name C. And then back to Marty with the last name D. So
Okay.
we're going to start out with, you can name any player of history in history of baseball with that last name. If you guys are not getting any wrong, then I'm going to shorten it to only active players. Okay. Now this is going to work. If you get 3 strikes, you're out, just like in real baseball. So you get 3 strikes to stay in the game. Okay.
Sounds good.
David, this is a good game. I like this.
Thank you. Thank you. I told you I was thinking. All right. So Marty, you're up first with A.
Tim Anderson.
Doc, B.
Bobby Bonilla.
All right. Mike Carter, C.
Miguel Cabrera.
Marty, D.
Josh Donaldson.
Doc, E.
Adam Engel.
All right. Mike Carter, F.
Frankie Frisch.
Marty, G.
G. Ken Griffey.
All right. Doc, H.
Adrian Hauser.
All right, Mike Carter, you're up next.
Pete Incaviglia.
Ooh. Yeah, you guys know the letter that's next. So Marty, you're up.
Wait, what? Sorry, you cut out. What did you say? What is it?
I
I?
said, he did I, so you're doing J.
J. No.
3, 2, 1. All right, we got our
You literally
first...
could have said anyone with the last name Johnson.
Oh shit.
All right, Marty's got a strike. All right.
Oh, I'm not out. Good. There we go.
All right. Eric.
So wait,
K.
what am I?
Okay.
Ray King.
Good one.
Ooh, good one.
All right, Mike Carter, L.
Oh, God, Louis Lipke, the lefty pitcher.
All right.
None of us know who that is, so we'll
Luke-
just assume that's right.
Casey
All right.
Mize.
Oh, you even force. All right, Doc, N.
Phil Necro.
Mike, O.
Donovan Osborne.
All right, Marty, P.
Miguel DePozo.
What?
He's a relief pitcher on the Tigers.
Miguel, did you say Depozo?
Yeah.
It has to be P.
Pozo. P-O-Z-O.
Oh, you said
but-
Depozo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't the D-E in front of it?
Yeah, but it's separated.
No, that doesn't count.
That's 2 strikes,
2
baby.
strikes for Marty. Okay.
I did not. There's a rule if you say it wrong. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. Whatever. I'm over it.
He's quitting triple play now.
All right. Doc, you have Q.
Dan Quisenberry.
Good
Ooh,
one.
nice one.
All right, Mike, you have R.
Wilson Ramos.
Marty, S.
This is like the easiest one, so I have to be able to get this one, don't I? I give up. I don't know.
Oh my goodness, Marty.
No,
Thomas.
George Springer.
I'll let you stay in. I stopped it because it was gonna run out. All right, T.
Lane Thomas.
U.
Uguet Urbina.
That's what I was gonna say.
V.
Ryan Voth.
Well, I know Austin Voth. Is there a Ryan Voth?
Probably was.
Oh, now he's reaching. All right, Marty's eliminated. All right.
Whatever.
UV. All right, Doc. You're up.
W. Ted Williams.
Mike.
Oh God, X. I can't think of anybody whose last name started with X. Xavier Nady is the only one I can think of but that doesn't count. I can't think of a guy. I can't think of a guy whose last name started with X. I'll take that strike.
All right. We are now Y, Doc.
Carl Yastrzemski.
All right. Mike Carter.
Z. Jeff Zahn.
Good one. All right. Now we are staying with active players since we got through the first round with you 2 left. All right. I believe now we will go in reverse and then we'll have now Mike Carter start off with A.
Aaron Ashby.
Doc, B. And we have a strike for Doc. That is, you could have said Tucker Barnhart.
I could have.
Oh, yeah.
We talked about him. All right, Mike Carter, C.
Garrett Crochet.
All right, Eric, D.
Matt Davidson.
All right, you guys know the order of the letters, so I'm just gonna say your names to go to the next one. All right, Mike.
Carl Edwards Jr.
Nice. Doc.
Prince Fielder.
He's not active.
I know.
2 strikes. All right, back to you, Mike.
G. Why can't I think of anything? Don't know. I can't think of a G.
Wow, 2 strikes to 2 strikes.
Wait, David, I have a
Very
question
dynamic.
because this guy is involved with Major League Baseball, and you can tell me if you're not going to allow it or not.
Okay.
Angel Hernandez, because he's a popular.
He has to be a player.
We all hate him as an ump.
Yeah, he has to be a player. Starts now. H. You got H.
All right, Cole Hamels.
Is he technically active?
He's a free agent. He hasn't
Yeah,
retired.
he's looking for a job.
Okay. All right.
Jonathan India.
Nice.
Jason Jaramillo.
What?
Yeah.
Jason Jaramillo?
Jaramillo.
Who the hell is that?
Jara. How do you spell it?
He's a catcher.
Jara. How do you spell the rest of it?
Millo.
There is no catcher named Jaramillo.
Jason, type it in on Google.
Jason Jaramillo is an American former professional baseball
He's a
player.
former one.
I'll give you that was a good pull, but it was not current. So, on a very weird one to end the game on, Mike Carter gets his win. I believe if I don't have my soundboard, so I can't give you the regular applause. What's your record in the triple play? Yep, you only have one loss.
I
right?
lost last time. Yeah, I think I'm 4-1 now.
I wanted to win this one so bad.
I keep looking in the mail every day for my ball hair trimmer. Never. I'm kidding. No, man, it's awesome. I'm lucky. I just got lucky. That's all.
I'm interested to see if we had Art in the mix too. If Art would have been good at that game or not.
Oh man, I had to put the kid back to sleep. He just got back to sleep.
That's awesome.
He wanted to be a part of the triple play experience here.
He comes in. What are you doing?
See who's back there?
Yep. On the show.
Oh man.
Hello.
Hey.
On that note, I want to make sure we get I know it's way past your bedtime. So Mike, thanks you so much for coming on the show tonight. Always a blast when you come on the show. So really appreciate you, man.
I always appreciate getting the invite to come on with you guys. You guys were one of the first people who ever had me on a podcast, and I love doing podcasts. I think Marty's been a great addition, and I'm super, super glad to see Art back. You guys have a great chemistry, the 4 of you together, and it's my pleasure to be on. Anytime you guys need somebody, call the bullpen, call the big fat guy, and I'm usually around.
No. Bullpen's canceled now.
Oh yeah, that's.
Wait, what?
Yeah, no. Bullpen is canceled. PETA says it's offensive, so it's arm barn now.
Are you serious?
Yeah, no. Bullpen is canceled in 2021. It's the same as the F-bomb, so you must take that out of your vocabulary.
It's called the arm pen or whatever.
Arm barn.
Arm
What?
barn. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the joke for it now.
Oh my God, we're gonna have some problems next podcast. Oh boy. Oh, boy.
David, don't say it. We don't want to get canceled.
No, I know. I'm not saying anything. Mike, please let everybody know all the great stuff that you do, where they can find you on Twitter, all your great writing, everything.
Well, we're on a little bit of hiatus right now, which is kind of good for my soul and my brain, so that I can get a little bit of a rest. But I do work for a couple of different websites. My home base is pretty much Roto Fanatic, where I write about bullpens there and the closing remarks article that comes out every Sunday. I also do some work for SP Streamer with streaming hitters and pitchers that are low owned in big money leagues. I also had an opportunity this year to work at Fantrax and cover the 2-start pitchers, which is a bit of a disaster. I've got a lot to learn about covering that next year if I get to do that opportunity again. And then I also write for a smaller website called 9 Inning Know-It-All, which is just basically more of my narrative pieces just about baseball and experiences that I've had with the greatest game on the planet. So I got enough to keep me busy.
Yeah, I don't know how you do it all, honestly. Like writing for that many sites and all that you do. And I know obviously with 2 kids and your job, it's a full it's a
well,
lot.
I wanted to get involved in doing something fantasy writing for about 25 years, and I just never had the opportunity or the time. And my wife and kids are super supportive of me doing it. They love that I get to do these things. They know that I really enjoy it. And I have a lot of things saved up from all the years that I was just kind of laboring along with that stuff. So I really appreciate you guys giving me an opportunity to be on with you guys. I always have a great time when I'm with you. So thank you so much, and have a great holiday.
Wait, Mike, I got to ask, how many cups of coffee do you drink per day?
I only have 2.
Okay, so I'm at the same level of you. Okay, perfect.
Yeah, I have. You didn't say what size though.
Oh.
I just take the coffee pot out and start drinking it. No,
I
have 2 cups of coffee a day. But it's just when you like what you do, it makes a big difference. And so
that's very true.
It's really important to you're going to work a hell of a long time in your life. You better like what you're doing.
That's right. That's very true. And we always appreciate Mike coming on here. And if you're not following him, please make sure you do. I think you're closing in on 3,000, right, on Twitter?
I have no idea. I don't know. I just know that people talk to me. I was in Arizona for First Pitch Arizona, which was a great experience. You guys have got to get down there next year. Mm-hmm. We will smash some terrible breakfast cereals and drink a lot of beer at night. It's a really cool time, but it was really an odd experience. I had people coming up to me and asking me if I was Mike Carter. I was like, who wants to know? I thought maybe somebody was trying to serve me papers or something, But they were actually really awesome people. There's so many cool people that I met down there, and it couldn't have gone any better than it did. It was a wonderful time. So really good times down there.
Yeah, we're definitely doing that next year, no doubt, for sure. And again, please make sure you're following Mike Carter if you're not already. I want to make sure we get this man to bed. So for everybody that watches Triple Play, whether it's on the YouTube channel, if you listen to it on the podcast, always appreciate your support each and every week. Next week, we're going to be joined by Eno Saris. Yes, I will say that again. We'll be joined by Eno Saris. I'm tongue-tied. So it'll be a fun show. It's going to be an absolute blast. Maybe not as good as Mike Carter, because there's only one Mike Carter.
Oh, God.
But it's going to be a fun show.
There's only one Eno. There's a lot of me.
We're going to have a very unique show. We're going to pause on these Fixing the Division series for that episode, and we'll resume the week after. But until then, stay safe out there. Make sure you enjoy the off season, and we're going to make like a bread truck, and we're going to haul these buns. Catch you guys in the next one.